All right, we are reading from World in Space, page 226, The Four Seasons. 1, 2, 3. Take that. Summer trees burst with thick loads of leaves. Flowers nod in soft, warm breezes. Insects buzz. A blue sky holds a bright, hot sun. Winter. Bare trees stand like bony skeletons against a cold gray sky. Snow blankets the ground. The sun seems pale and far away. What causes this difference? Why is the earth warm in spring and summer and cold in winter and fall? Summer comes to your part of the world when a lot of the sun's hot light falls steadily upon it. Winter comes when not as much as the sun's light reaches your part of the world. Then the ground and air cool off. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. I'm doing breathing and kind of stretches and tippy toe exercises too, so I'm holding it steady the best I can. The difference in the amount of sunlight is caused by the tilt of the Earth. Earth's north and south poles don't point straight up and down, they are tilted. Thus, when the Earth is at one end of its path around the sun, the North Pole is tilted toward the sun and the South Pole is tilted away from the sun. Then most of the sun's light falls upon the northern half of the world, keeping it warm. This causes summer. Because the southern half of the Earth isn't getting as much light, it is cool. This causes winter. The Earth moves on around the sun. When it has moved about 1/4 of the way around the northern part, the northern part gets less light than it did, so it grows cooler. This brings autumn to Earth, to the north. The southern part gets more light than it did, so it starts to warm up. This causes spring in the south. When the Earth has moved halfway around the sun, the North Pole is tilted away from the sun and the South Pole is tilted toward the sun. Now, the southern part of the world gets the most light and the northern part gets the least. So people in the northern part shiver in winter's cold, while those in the southern part enjoy summer. One part of the Earth always has summer. A band around the middle of the Earth, where the equator is, always gets about the same amount of sunlight, so it always stays hot. Who stole the sun? Partial eclipse, total eclipse. It's the middle of the day. The sun hangs big and bright in the sky. But what's this? The sky seems to be growing dark. Is there going to be a storm? No, there are no clouds. Why is the sky getting dark? One edge of the sun seems to disappear. The sun grows dim. Slowly, more and more and more of it vanishes, as if big bites are being taken out of it. Finally, the sky is nearly as dark as night. Where the sun was, there is only a dark spot with a pale, fuzzy ring around it. What has happened? What has happened is simply that the moon, which moves around the Earth, has passed between the Earth and the sun. The sun is much bigger than the moon, but it is so far away that the moon can cover it up. just as you can cover up a distant house when you hold your hand before your face. When the moon is between the sun and the earth, the moon throws a shadow on the earth. The part of the earth covered by the shadow is in darkness. When the moon gets between the earth and the sun this way, it is called a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse can't be seen over the whole world. It is only from the part of the earth that is directly in line with both the sun and the moon. The moon's shadow only covers about 100 miles. When the whole sun is covered up, it is called a total eclipse. Sometimes only part of the sun is covered. That is called a partial eclipse. An eclipse never lasts more than about 7.5 minutes. Never look directly at an eclipse, not even with sunglasses or through film. Your eyes could be badly injured. The freckles on the sun's face. Many people have small brown marks called freckles on their skin. The sun has freckles too, but the spots on the sun that look like freckles are called sunspots. Sunspots seem to be great whirlpools on the sun's surface. These sunspots are several thousand degrees cooler than the rest of the surface, so they don't shine as brightly. This makes them look like dark spots on the sun's bright face. Most sunspots come in pairs that slowly drift apart until there are thousands of miles between them. As they move apart, they grow bigger, often many times bigger than the whole planet Earth. They may stay this size for several months, then they slowly dwindle away and disappear. Scientists think that sunspots are probably caused by magnetism in the sun. At times, the sun is free of them. Then suddenly, a few at a time, they begin to appear. As time goes on, more and more of them appear, sometimes grouping together to form larger patches. These groups often last for weeks, then slowly fade away. Sunspots on the sun are like great whirlpools that appear on the surface of the sun. They are often many times bigger than the whole planet Earth. Will the sun ever stop shining? Yes, the sun will go out someday, but not for billions and billions of years. Scientists tell us that about 5 billion years from now, the sun will begin to die, just as all stars do. First, the sun will get hotter, then it will probably swell up. Slowly, it will become much, much bigger. As it gets bigger, its color will change from yellow to red. And as the sun grows bigger, it will pour out more heat. The earth will become so hot that all the rivers, ponds, lakes, and oceans will boil and turn to steam. All of the planets and animals will die. The world will become a ball of bare, burnt rock surrounded by great clouds of steam. After about 1 billion more years, the sun will begin to shrink. It will become no bigger than Earth. Its color will change from red to white. Slowly, during more billions of years, its brightness will fade. It will use up the last of its energy and go out. It will be dead. It will be a dead black ball, a little smaller than Earth. As the sun gives off less and less heat, the clouds of steam around Earth will turn back into water and fall as rain. Oceans and lakes will fill up again. As the sun grows cooler, Earth will grow cold. The water will freeze. Earth will be a lifeless ball of rock and ice, cold, dark, and silent. Our next door neighbor. As Earth whirls along its endless journey through space, it has a companion that is always beside it. The moon. The moon is a small planet. It is only about 1/4 as big as Earth. The moon is our nearest neighbor in space. The stars are billions of miles away. The sun is millions of miles away. But the moon is only about 239,000 miles away. That makes the moon truly a next-door neighbor. In a way, the moon belongs to Earth, just as Earth moves around and around the sun, the moon moves around and around Earth. It is held in place by the tug of Earth's stronger gravity. A planet that is held by another planet this way is called a satellite. The moon is Earth's satellite. The moon is a ball of gray rock, some of which is covered with dust. It has no air or water, and of course no plants or animals. Its whole surface is nothing but mountains and plains of rock. When we look up at a full moon, we can often see dark patches. These dark places are the lowlands. They seem to form a shadowy face that people have named the man on the moon. The brighter parts of the moon are the highlands. In ancient times, many people worshipped the moon. The Romans, who thought the moon was a goddess, named it Luna. Our word lunar means of the moon. Why the moon shines. Why does the moon shine? It isn't a ball of hot, glowing gas like the sun. It's a ball of cold, hard rock. How can rock give off light? The answer to that may surprise you. The moon is like a giant mirror. The light it sends to Earth is light that is reflected from the sun. The moon isn't really a very good mirror. It isn't a bit smooth and shiny. In fact, most of the rock on the moon is rough and dark gray. It doesn't really reflect much light, but sunlight is so bright that even the tiny bit that is reflected from the moon makes the moon look like a glowing ball in our sky. Actually, Earth is a mirror too. It reflects some of the sunlight that falls on it, and it's a better mirror than the moon is. Why the moon changes shape. Oh, look! Oh, look at the moon. She is shining up there. Oh, Mother, she looks like a lamp in the air. Last week she was smaller and shaped like a bow, but now she's grown bigger and round as an O. From, oh, look at the moon, Eliza Lee Follen. The moon does indeed seem to change from a slim bow into a flat, round O and back to a bow again. These changes take place as the moon goes around the Earth. We call these changes phases. In its first phase, the moon can't be seen at all. It is between the Earth and the sun. The sun shines on the side of the moon that is turned away from us. Because of this, we can't see the dark side that faces us. After a day or two, the moon moves far enough to one side of us so that we can see a tiny bit of the side that is lit by the sun. From Earth, this tiny bit looks like a silvery bow. We call this a phase a crescent moon. After 7 days, the moon has moved enough so that we can see half of its sunlit side. This is a half moon. After about 2 weeks, the moon is halfway around the Earth from where it started. Now we can see the whole side of the moon the sun shines on. It is now a bright, round, full moon. As it moves on around the Earth, it becomes a half moon, then a bow again. Finally, its dark side is again turned to us. You can see for yourself why the moon has phases. You'll need a bright flashlight, a large ball, and a dark room. The flashlight acts as the sun, the ball is the moon, and you will be the Earth. Sit directly between the light and the ball. The whole side of the ball facing you will be in light, just as a full moon is. And there's a half moon and the crescent moon. Yeah, that's a fun one. Shadow on the moon. The night is clear and starry. There's a bright, full moon in the sky. But then a tiny, curved shadow appears on the edge of the moon. Slowly, the shadow creeps over the moon. More and more of the moon is covered by it, and finally the whole moon is in shadow. That's what happens during an eclipse of the moon. An eclipse of the moon is called a lunar eclipse. It takes place when the Earth comes between the sun and the moon. When that happens, the Earth casts a shadow on the face of the moon, darkening it. The moon is seldom completely darkened by the Earth's shadow. However, some of the sunlight passing the Earth gets bent by the Earth's atmosphere. The light is reflected onto the moon, so the moon is still faintly visible. Thus, an eclipse of the moon isn't as exciting as a solar eclipse. An eclipse of the moon takes place when the Earth comes between the sun and the moon. Then the Earth's shadow covers up the moon. The far side of the moon. For hundreds of years, ever since people have known that the moon was a planet, they have wondered about something. They have wondered what the far side of the moon was like. You see, even though the moon spins around, we never get to see all of it. The tug of Earth's gravity causes the moon to spin very slowly. In fact, the moon only spins around once in the time it takes to go all the way around the Earth. As a result, the same side of the moon always faces the Earth. The diagram on the opposite page shows how this happens. People wondered what the moon's far side was like. Was it bare and rocky like the side we can see, or was it different? Was it possible that there might be water, plants, and animals living on the side we cannot see? We don't have to wonder anymore. In 1959, a Russian spaceship went around the moon. There was no one on this ship, but there were cameras that took pictures of the moon's far side. Later, other Russian and American spaceships, some with people in them, took more pictures. The pictures showed that the far side of the moon is just as bare and rocky as the side we see. So we now know something that all the billions of people who lived before us didn't know. We know what the far side of the moon looks like. This diagram shows why we can never see the moon's far side. Even though the moon makes one full turn as it goes around the Earth, its far side, shown by the flag, is never turned toward us. On the moon. People have visited the moon and walked on it, so we know what the surface of the moon is like. This big ball of gray rock has broad, flat plains covered with powdery rock dust. There are rugged mountains, and there are thousands of billions of round pits called craters. The craters were made by chunks of rock that smashed into the moon like bullets. Such chunks of rock, called meteors, move around the sun just as the Earth and moon do. During the billions of years since the moon was formed, billions of meteors have bumped into it. The moon and the meteors were moving so fast when they crashed together that the meteors dug craters in the moon's surface. Now, the moon is pitted and pocked. The moon is pitted and pocked with these craters. Some of the craters are no bigger than pinheads. Some are the size of a car tire. Some are hundreds of feet wide, but most are about 5 to 10 miles wide. The biggest is about 700 miles wide. When the meteors struck, they usually threw up walls of rock around the craters they made. The moon's mountains are really the walls of huge craters. There is no air on the moon to scatter the sunlight, so even in daytime, the sky is pitch black and filled with stars. Because the moon turns so slowly, one day on the moon is as long as 14 days. Because the moon turns so slowly, one day on the moon is as long as 14 days and nights on Earth. During the moon's daylight hours, The rocky surface grows so hot it would burn if you touched it. But during the night, the moon grows colder than the coldest place on Earth. The moon's gravity isn't as strong as Earth's gravity. On the moon, you could jump 6 times higher than you could on Earth and lift things that would be too heavy for you to lift on Earth. With no air, there is no sound on the moon, and there is no wind to stir the rock dust that lies thickly on the plains. The moon is a still, silent, barren, lifeless place, unlike any part of Earth. Sure, yeah, it's a moon's crater, it says. And this says that as an astronaut walks upon one of the moon's barren plains. An astronaut's footprint in the powdery moon soil. The sun's family. The planet Earth is part of a family. It is one of 9 planets that belong to the sun. We can see some of these planets at night, shining like bright stars. Like the Earth and the Moon, the other planets all shine with reflected sunlight. Each planet moves around the sun in a path called an orbit. There are many millions of miles between the planets. 2 planets are closer to the sun than Earth. The others are all farther away. 4 planets are smaller than Earth. 4 are much bigger. 1 is so far away that we can't tell much about it. 6 of the other planets have moons. Planets and moons aren't the only things whirling around the sun. There are also billions of chunks of rock and metal called meteors. There is a ring of much larger chunks of rock and metal, like small planets, called asteroids. There are comets, clouds of drifting gas, and bits of dust. All these things are tied to the sun by its gravity. They are the sun's family, called the solar system. Closest to the sun. The planet closest to the sun is Mercury. It is one of the smallest of the 9 planets, only a little more than 1/3 the size of the Earth. Seen from the Earth, Mercury appears, disappears, and appears again. This is why it was named after the Roman god Mercury. As the messenger of the gods, Mercury was thought to move swiftly back and forth between heaven and earth. Mercury, much like our moon, is a bare, rocky ball covered with billions of craters. In Mercury's sky, the sun appears many times bigger and brighter than it looks from Earth. This is because Mercury is only about 36 million miles away from the sun. The side of Mercury facing the sun is tremendously hot. The other side is fiercely cold. A year on Mercury is only as long as 88 of our days. That's how long it takes Mercury to move all the way around the sun. But a day on Mercury is equal to 59 of our days. Mercury spins around so slowly that its day is nearly as long as its year. The twin planets, Venus and Earth. The second closest planet to the sun is Venus. It is the brightest of all the stars and planets in our sky. Sometimes it can even be seen in daylight. Because of its bright beauty, it was named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty. Venus is nearly the same size as Earth and is often called Earth's twin, but Venus is really nothing at all like our world. It is sizzling hot and has no water. A thick, heavy blanket of swirling, rushing clouds surrounds it. Its whole surface is probably a great windstorm rage. Its whole surface is probably I skipped a line. Its whole surface is probably a great, dark, bleak desert, hot as melted lead, where terrible windstorms rage. Its upper clouds move so fast that they travel all the way around the planet in only 4 days. Venus is about 67 miles from the Sun. Its year lasts 225 of our days. Its day is as long as 243 of our days. Thus, on Venus, a day is longer than a year. The third planet from the Sun is our world, Earth. Earth is sometimes called Terra, after a Roman goddess of the earth. The Earth is about 93 million miles from the Sun. It spins much more swiftly than either Mercury or Venus, turning completely around about every 24 hours. That is our day. The Earth moves completely around the Sun in about 365 days. That is our year. Earth is a ball of rock and metal, but it is covered with soil and water. It has an atmosphere made up of many different gases. The air and water may look like a blue ball hanging in the air and water make it look like a blue ball hanging in space. The red planet. At night, you can sometimes see a bright star that shines with a reddish gleam. It is Mars, the red planet, named after the Roman god of war. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun, about 142 million miles away. Some parts of Mars look like the Moon, but Mars isn't a dead world like the Moon. It has a thin atmosphere made up of several gases, and thin blue and thick white clouds move across the sky. Fierce windstorms whirl sand up from the plains and fill the air with dust. The dust gives the Martian sky its strange orange color. There are volcanoes on Mars. One of them is 3 times higher and many times wider than Mount Everest, the highest mountain on Earth. There are also canyons on Mars. One of these canyons is as wide as the whole continent of North America, and it is many times deeper than Earth's deepest canyon, the Grand Canyon of the Colorado River in Arizona. In several places on Mars, there are long, winding marks that look like dry river valleys. Some astronomers think they show where rivers once flowed. Mars has 2 little moons that are just lumpy chunks of rock. The largest, called Phobos, is about 14 miles wide. The other is Deimos. Deimos is only about 6 miles wide. Mars is only about half as big as Earth. Its year is about twice as long as ours, but its day is about the same. The giant planet. The red spot is a giant hurricane. The black spot is a shadow of one of Jupiter's moons. The giant planet. The giant of the Sun's family is the planet called Jupiter. It's the biggest of all the planets of the solar system, more than 11 times bigger than Earth. This giant was named after the king of the Roman gods. Earth, the Moon, and Mars are solid balls of rock, but Jupiter is very different. It is a huge ball of hot liquid surrounded by thick clouds of gas. The clouds form colored bands around the planet. A strange gigantic spot of color, called the red spot, can be seen on the clouds. This red spot is 3 times bigger than the whole planet Earth. It is actually an enormous hurricane that has been whirling in Jupiter's atmosphere for hundreds of years. And there are many other wild windstorms always raging in Jupiter's thick clouds. Jupiter has 13 moons. The smallest, if it isn't even as big, has most of Earth's mountains. But the biggest, called Ganymede, is bigger than the planet Mercury. One moon, called Io, has erupting volcanoes and lakes of red hot liquid lava. Jupiter is surrounded by a very thin ring made up of dust and perhaps tiny rocks. This ring may be all that's left of a moon that somehow came too close to Jupiter. The tremendous force of Jupiter's gravity would have pulled the moon to pieces. Jupiter is about 484 million miles from the sun. A year on Jupiter is about as long as 12 years on Earth, but a day on Jupiter is only about as long as 10 of our hours. I'm going to pause reading for there. Yes, we'll read some more later. What's next? A ringed world. Oh, should have guessed. Of course, it's Saturn.